The rain fell heavily on the city, each drop hitting the sidewalk like a clock ticking away. Marking the time Ana felt slipping through her fingers. Inside her flower shop, Encanto Floral, the sweet scent of roses and lilies seemed to no longer have the power to soothe her restless heart. Ana, a woman of delicate beauty and a natural talent for combining colors and fragrances, stared at the letter on the counter as if she could, by force of will, alter the words that sentenced her to failure. Closing imminent. Read the eyes that read in despair. An unexpected debt, like a sinister specter, threatened to swallow her lifelong dream. Ana felt a wave of helplessness that made her grip the paper so tightly her hands trembled. "I can't lose this," she thought, her emotions oscillating between panic and determination, a whirlwind that made her heart beat wildly. Miles away, in an office atop a skyscraper, Ricardo's figure emerged amid the cold, calculated opulence of his life. A billionaire marked by a loneliness disguised as success. He gazed out at the city through the large glass windows. The burden of a recent mistake weighed on his shoulders like an impending storm. A rumor, as insidious as it was devastating, circulated through the corridors of power. Ricardo was not a man of compromise. The news had cost him a crucial contract, a failure that threatened not only his reputation, but the very foundation of his fortune. Ricardo felt a chill run down his spine, not from the cold of the night, but from the weight of his own words when, in a moment of carelessness, he allowed his personal life to become a spectacle for the curious and ill-intentioned. "I need a solution," he murmured, his mind calculating, his heart pounding with a mixture of urgency and desperation. The next morning, fate, with its ironic twist, brought Ana and Ricardo face to face. Ricardo, driven by an idea that had appeared like a flash of lightning amidst the darkness of his worries, entered the shop, bringing with him the scent of rain and hope. Ana, surprised to find such a man in her little refuge, looked up from the bouquet she was assembling, her thoughts still clouded by uncertainty. "I need you to pretend to be my wife," Ricardo said, his voice a mix of command and plea. Ana, stunned, dropped the flowers she was holding, their petals scattering across the floor like fragments of broken dreams. The proposal was as absurd as it was tempting, a chance to save her business, a pact with the unexpected. "How could this help me?" Ana asked, her voice a thread of disbelief. Ricardo, noticing the hesitation in her eyes, revealed the plan with the precision of a man accustomed to negotiating the impossible. "In exchange, I will pay your debts. I need you to accompany me to an event. I need everyone to believe I am a changed man, and you are the key to that." Ana, in an internal battle between reason and despair, felt the weight of choice. The fear of losing everything she loved clashed with the promise of salvation Ricardo offered. "What if I fail?" she whispered, more to herself than to him. "You won't fail," Ricardo assured her, with an intensity that pierced Ana's defenses. There was something in his gaze, a sincerity disguised as arrogance that made her feel that maybe, just maybe, he was right. And so, with a handshake that sealed more than a deal, but a shared destiny, Ana accepted. As the night of the event approached, Ana found herself immersed in a world of luxury and intrigue, where every smile concealed intentions and every glance held the promise of unexpected futures. In the mirror of her room, dressed in an elegant evening gown Ricardo had provided, Ana barely recognized herself. "It's just one night," she repeated to herself, like a mantra to calm the turmoil in her chest. Ricardo, impeccably dressed in a suit that seemed to have been molded to his body, waited for Ana in the hotel lobby, his expression a mask of confidence. When Ana descended, he couldn't help but notice the grace with which she moved, a queen among commoners, a sight that stirred something within him. "Are you ready?" Ricardo asked, offering his arm to Ana. She took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of his presence as a shield against the unknown. "Let's do this," she replied, her voice firm, but with a tremor of anticipation she couldn't hide. And so, together, they entered the grand event hall, where destiny awaited them with promises of redemption and incalculable risks. The guests' murmurs momentarily ceased, all eyes turning to the unlikely couple who seemed to defy all odds. And in that moment, under the sparkling lights, Ana and Ricardo understood they were about to embark on a journey that would change their lives forever. The gala ballroom was filled with an opulence that dazzled the senses. Crystal chandeliers hung majestically like cascades of light, reflecting off floors so polished they could have been mirrors. The soft aroma of champagne mingled with the scent of exotic flowers adorning each table, creating an atmosphere of almost ethereal elegance. However, the real spectacle was the couple who had just entered. Ana, in an emerald dress that highlighted her eyes, and Ricardo, with his magnetic presence, walked together as if the universe had conspired to unite their paths. The soft music of an orchestra filled the air, but it was their presence that silenced the crowd. Ana felt as if she were under a spotlight, each glance a beacon illuminating her deepest insecurities. But beside her, Ricardo maintained his firm posture, a beacon of confidence that anchored her in that sea of uncertainty. "We'll show that we're invincible," Ricardo murmured with a defiant smile. But Ana could hear the hints of nervousness in his voice. The next few hours passed in a whirlwind of greetings and introductions, with fake smiles and calculated handshakes. But the real storm was gathering outside, where the media, like a hawk, waited to swoop down on its prey. Camera flashes exploded like lightning, and soon headlines appeared. "Who is the mysterious woman beside billionaire Ricardo? New romance or setup?" Ana, her heart racing, realized she had unwittingly become a central character in a drama she hadn't written. But as the event blazed on, Elisa watched from the shadows of the ballroom. With sharp eyes and a smile that hinted at revenge, Ricardo's ex-fiancée was determined not to lose. Her fingers gripped the champagne flute so tightly it felt like it was about to shatter. "They don't know what awaits them," she muttered to herself, already devising her plan to destroy Ana and sabotage Ricardo. Days later, Ana embarked on a business trip with Ricardo. It was an opportunity to step away from the spotlight and try to understand the role she was playing in the billionaire's complex life. During the flight, she met Carla, Ricardo's personal assistant, a woman with a serene presence and eyes that seemed to see beyond the visible. Carla sat next to Ana, noticing the tension in her shoulders and the anxiety in her eyes. "Sometimes the world of the rich is like a stage, where everyone acts, but few know who they really are," Carla said, her voice gentle but full of wisdom. "If you need help understanding what's behind the scenes, I'm here for you." Ana, feeling a rare sense of relief, smiled for the first time in days. "Thank you, Carla. This is all so overwhelming." Carla nodded, offering support Ana didn't know she needed. And so, an unexpected friendship began to form, providing a source of support amidst the storm. Between meetings and events, Ana and Ricardo met frequently to align their stories. They needed their lies to ring true. But with each conversation, something deeper emerged. Sitting in a secluded cafe, the soft lights creating an almost intimate setting, Ricardo began to share a little more about himself. "I grew up, without much," Ricardo confessed, his voice thick with melancholy. "Everything I built was to ensure that no one I love would go through the same hardships." Ana, touched by his sincerity, felt a bond forming. "I also know what it's like to fight for every achievement," she revealed, her eyes meeting his with silent understanding. The conversation flowed like a river, revealing not only the details necessary to sustain the charade, but also the pieces of their souls that had been kept hidden. And in that moment, under the starry sky that seemed to conspire to unite their stories, Ana realized that despite everything, something genuine was growing between them. However, Elisa's shadow continued to loom, and her malicious intentions promised an inevitable confrontation. But for now, in the small refuge they had found in each other, Ana and Ricardo were willing to believe that together they could weather any storm. The rooftop conference room at Ricardo's company was permeated with an almost palpable tension. The city outside glowed with its lights, oblivious to the emotional turmoil unfolding within the glass walls. Ricardo, seated at the head of the table, was lost in thought, his fingers drumming nervously on the polished wooden tabletop. He had always been a man of quick and accurate decisions, but now a cruel doubt was eroding his confidence. Expanding the farce into a new contract could bring incalculable financial benefits, but at the cost of prolonging a performance that was beginning to weigh on his conscience. The moral dilemma tormented him. Ricardo felt a chill run down his spine, not from the cold of the night, but from the weight of his own words. Could he continue lying, even knowing that in the process, he might be harming the only person who was truly beginning to matter? Meanwhile, across town, Elisa plotted with the precision of a chess master. She wasn't just an opponent, she was a storm about to break upon them. Elisa knew how to masterfully manipulate the media. Within days, the love story between Ana and Ricardo, already viewed with some skepticism, was dismantled by articles and gossip, suggesting it was all a plot to deceive the public and investors. Ana, pressured from all sides, found herself in a delicate situation. Cameras followed her like shadows, blinding flashes illuminating her path with every step. In a moment of carelessness, surrounded by voracious journalists, Ana made a mistake that made her tremble inside. Desperately trying to defend the truth of her feelings, she revealed intimate details of her relationship with Ricardo, details that should have remained secret. The news spread like wildfire, and Ricardo learned of Ana's slip-up while in his office. Anger rose like a wave, threatening to engulf him. He slammed his fist on the table, a gesture that made everyone around him take a step back, fearing the storm brewing in his eyes. It was at this point that Carla, his longtime assistant and confidant, intervened. "Ricardo, think about it," she pleaded, her voice thick with urgency and sincerity. "Ana didn't do this to hurt you. She's just as involved as you are, and now more than ever she needs you by her side." Carla's words were like an anchor in the storm, pulling Ricardo back to his senses. "Protecting Ana is now more crucial than ever," she insisted, her hand resting gently on his arm in an attempt to convey comfort. Ricardo took a deep breath, trying to dispel the whirlwind of emotions that was sweeping through him. He remembered the moments they had shared, the heartfelt conversations under the starry sky, and realized Carla was right. Regardless of the initial nature of their relationship, something genuine had formed between them, something worth protecting. That night, Ricardo found Ana on the terrace of his apartment, the night breeze caressing their faces. Ana was facing away, her arms wrapped around her body as if trying to shield herself from the outside world. Ricardo approached slowly, the hurt still evident in his eyes, but now softened by renewed understanding. "Ana," he called, his voice low but firm. She turned, her eyes reflecting a mixture of guilt and hope. "I know things are hard, and I know it's been hard for you too." She shook her head, emotion welling up. "I never meant to hurt you, Ricardo. I just wanted you to know how much you mean to me." Ricardo took a step forward, the distance between them closing. "I know, and that's why I'll fight for us. No matter what Elisa does, no matter what anyone says, we'll get through this together." The relief that flooded Ana was almost tangible, and she took a step toward him, letting the warmth of his arms envelop her. The world might have been crumbling around them, but there, in that moment, they found a fragment of peace. And there, under the starry sky, the silent promise that together they would weather any storm was sealed, while the city around them continued to shine, indifferent and eternal. The days that followed that night under the stars were a whirlwind of emotions and rumors. The city, always so lively and relentless, seemed to have found a new pastime, speculating about the true nature of Ricardo and Ana's relationship. The tabloid headlines were relentless, each trying to decipher whether the love between the mysterious billionaire and the woman of humble origins was genuine or just a show of appearances. Ana, navigating this storm of gossip, felt the weight of suspicions mounting on her shoulders. Every curious glance on the street, every whisper that fell silent as she passed, was a constant reminder of her precarious position. In her mind, conflicting thoughts crashed like waves against rocks. She found herself thinking about her simple life before Ricardo, where her greatest concern was Sunday dinner with her family. That morning, the rising sun brought with it a painful decision. Ana sat at the small kitchen table in the apartment she still called home, breathing in the familiar scent of freshly brewed coffee. "I don't know how much longer I can take this," she murmured to herself, her voice thick with uncertainty. The idea of abandoning the arrangement and returning to her old life seemed, with each passing day, more appealing. But before she could lose herself in her doubts, a text message flashed on her phone, interrupting her musings. "Investor meeting, 2 p.m. Need you there." It was from Ricardo. The billionaire, always so sure of himself, now depended on her more than ever. The afternoon arrived quickly, bringing with it the tense atmosphere of the crucial meeting. The room was filled with familiar and influential faces, each more curious than the last. Ricardo stood beside Ana, his posture firm as a rock, but his eyes betrayed a glimmer of concern. He knew that Elisa, his former business partner and now sworn rival, was determined to sabotage his plans. Elisa, an imposing figure with dark hair and a piercing gaze, appeared in the room like a storm waiting to happen. With a smile that didn't reach her eyes, she began speaking, her voice silky as venom. "Before we continue, I think it's in everyone's best interest to clear up some rumors about Ricardo and Ana's relationship." The air in the room grew heavy, and Ana felt her heart race. This was the moment she'd been dreading. Elisa continued, her narrative carefully calculated to raise suspicions and sow doubt in the minds of the investors. "It's no secret that their relationship began unexpectedly, and perhaps it's not exactly what it seems." At that moment, Carla, Ana's loyal friend and co-worker, stood up. "Excuse me, Elisa." Her voice was firm but held an undeniable kindness. "I think everyone here deserves to hear the truth from Ana herself." His eyes turned to Ana, who swallowed, feeling the weight of the moment. Taking a deep breath, she stood up, the sound of her heart almost drowning out her words. I can't deny that it all started unexpectedly, but what I feel for Ricardo is real." A murmur ran through the room, but Ana didn't stop. Her voice choked with emotion, she continued. "When I look at Ricardo, I see beyond the headlines and the numbers. I see the man who supported me when I needed it most, who challenged me to be better every day. I love him, and that's true." There was a silence, so thick it could have been cut with a knife. Then one of the investors, a man named David, who had always admired Ricardo, stood up in support. "Authenticity is rare in business and in life. I see it in Ana, and I believe in her." David's words were like a spark, igniting an unexpected sense of support in the room. Ana felt a wave of relief and gratitude, but when she looked at Ricardo, his expression was unreadable. He remained silent, a statue of uncertainty and internal conflict. Ricardo's heart was on a battlefield, torn between his feelings for Ana and his need to protect his own from the wounds of the past. He felt a chill run down his spine, not from the cold of the room, but from the weight of his own uncertainties. He knew Ana deserved more than he could offer at that moment, but he couldn't find the right words. The meeting continued, but now with renewed energy. Ana, though still uncertain about the future, felt empowered by having spoken the truth. Outside, the city continued its incessant rhythm, but for Ana and Ricardo, time seemed to have stood still, as they both wondered what fate still had in store for them. And then, as the sun set over the city, an unspoken promise hung between them, waiting to be fulfilled. What came next would depend on their choices, their hearts, and the courage to face what they truly felt. Dinner was served on a small, candlelit veranda, where the distant murmur of the city created a gentle melody that lulled the night. Ricardo, seated at the table, gazed at Ana with an intensity that seemed to unveil every secret hidden in her heart. He felt a chill run down his spine, not from the cold of the night, but from the weight of the words he was about to release. "Ana," he began, his voice thick with emotion. "There's something I need to tell you, something I've kept inside for too long." Ana looked up, breath held, captivated by the depth in Ricardo's gaze. She knew this moment was crucial, a turning point in a path they had both forged with hesitation and hope. "You're more than a facade to me, more than part of a plan to deceive the world," Ricardo continued, the words coming out like a long suppressed confession. "I've fallen in love with you, Ana, and all I want is to build a life with you." The words hung in the air, heavy and yet liberating. Ana felt her heart race, a mixture of surprise and joy taking over her. She knew how much those words meant, how much courage and vulnerability lay within them. "Ricardo," she said, her voice soft, almost a whisper, "I feel the same way too. But what about what we're up against? Elisa and her manipulations?" Ricardo smiled, a smile full of promise and determination. "About that, I have good news. Together we've gathered enough evidence to incriminate Elisa. She can't harm us anymore." Relief washed over Ana, like a warm wave washing away all her worries. It was as if a part of the sky had opened, revealing a clear and promising path ahead. Meanwhile, in an elegantly decorated office, Ricardo's trusted lawyer, Clara, reviewed the documents that would seal Elisa's fate. Ricardo and Ana had managed to gather evidence of bribery and media manipulation, thanks to an unexpected informant, David, who finally decided to do the right thing. With that, Clara explained over the phone, Elisa will no longer have any escape. Her social status will be restored, Ana. And you, Ricardo, will be able to move forward without any more shadows from the past standing in your way. On the other end of the line, Ana held Ricardo's hand, their fingers intertwined in a silent promise. They knew the battle hadn't been easy, but together they had found the strength to fight and win. Days later, Ana received news that warmed her heart even more. Her flower shop, which had been the target of intrigue and slander, was now an unexpected success. Public support, garnered by Ana's charisma and authenticity, had transformed her small business into a local phenomenon. The phone rang non-stop, and the sight of customers coming in and leaving with smiles on their faces was a reward beyond all expectations. "You won't believe it," Sophia, her friend and store manager, exclaimed excitedly. "We're getting orders from all over town. We can finally expand like we always dreamed." Ana laughed, a laugh filled with relief and hope. The future looked bright, and she could see all the opportunities that lay before her. Finally, the long-awaited day arrived. The sky was blue and a gentle breeze danced through the trees as friends and family gathered in a garden decorated with the most vibrant flowers Ana and Sophia could find. Ricardo and Ana were about to officially seal what their hearts had long ago decided. Ricardo, standing at the altar, looked at Ana as she walked toward him, each step a testament to love and courage. Their eyes were fixed on each other, a silent dialogue that only they understood. "I choose you," Richard said, his words ringing like an eternal promise. "I will always choose you," Ana replied, her voice firm and full of conviction. With their vows exchanged, they joined in a kiss that sealed not just a commitment, but a journey that transcended hardships and trials. Amid applause and smiles, they officially became husband and wife, ready to face the world together. As the celebration continued, Ana looked around, seeing the happiness on the faces of everyone she loved. The future that had once seemed uncertain was now filled with promises and dreams she knew she could achieve with Ricardo. And so, under the starry sky, with laughter and music echoing in the night, Ana and Ricardo began their most beautiful chapter, certain that true love always finds its way. If you were moved by this story, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and comment below on what you liked most. Your opinion is very important to us. Share this video with someone who needs an inspiring story. Until next time.